Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche from all aspects here. I have no idea what's going on. YouTube didn't come on. That's never happened before. Usually it is Facebook that bumps us off, but YouTube didn't come on. I don't know. Gladiator Guru is not here. I can't reach her. I don't know what in the hell is going on. It's Independence Day, and I'm independent, apparently. Good morning, Kathy from Texas. Happy that you are here. So yeah, this is bizarre. Like nobody's around. Well, Kathy, you're here. Gladiator Girl, I have no idea where she is. I hope everything's okay because I am not getting in touch with her. I'm hopeful that she just forgot that it's Thursday. You know, I had to remind myself yesterday when I was going to bed last night. In my head, I'm going, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this and I'm going to go weed the garden and blah, 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 first thing in the morning. And then I went, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? You have the show. And so I had to remind myself that get up and make sure that you have the show. So I'm wondering if she just forgot what day it is. So let me just actually get to the Viva. Oops. Let me get to the Viva Facebook page. Thank you for being patient. And this way I can see if anybody else jumps on. So, Kathy, thank you for being here. It might just be you and me, Kathy. Let me see if I can go ahead and comment to Kathy that you are here. So happy Independence Day. We are... it's a beautiful day. It's a perfect day to celebrate freedom. And even though sometimes we don't feel so free, we really are, though, compared to other countries. It was interesting. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Their family came to visit, and I actually had met the wife for the first time, and she's from China. And wonderful, wonderful person. Like, she's just the sweetest, coolest lady. I absolutely adore her. And she goes back and forth because she's still here on a visa, even though she's been married a long time to an American. So she's going to be getting her green card. But the thing is that we were just talking a little bit about China versus the U.S. and you know, we really take things for granted. Like in China, you can have your land, your house just taken away just because they feel like it. Now, some could argue and say that happens here, right? We have something called eminent domain, but that it's not that they're taking it away from you. They're selling, they're paying you for it, but they're not paying you what it's worth necessarily, which of course does suck. But they don't just take it. It's like a whole process. She was telling me that one of the challenging things about getting her, you know, coming back and forth is that when you're getting a visa, they don't always approve people because they want to make sure that you still have assets and money in China before you leave the country, because they're going to assume that if you took out all your money that and you have very little assets or very little money over there, that you're not going to return. And if they decide, they can just take that from you if they think that you're a flight risk. It is the craziest stuff. But so happy Independence Day. I do take my freedoms very seriously. And what's interesting is depending on which areas of the country that you live, there's certain areas that celebrate this more for what it's worth. You know, so Kathy, you're a Texas lady. Texans don't mess around with freedom and all that stuff. And I'm in Tennessee, and it's the same thing. I mean, I've seen people driving around their cars with flags. I've seen people hanging flags. We had a fireworks display in our backyard last night. Some of the neighbors were displaying fireworks. They sell fireworks here. It's legal, and I could have bought some. I'm always a little freaked out about that. I'm always afraid that I'm going to catch somebody's house on fire or property on fire, especially because we haven't really had a lot of rain. But they're pretty, though, to look at. And I have a dog that's very, very frightened of fireworks, so I just don't want to add to her fear. She was stuck to me like Velcro yesterday. It started at it doesn't really get dark here till about 9:15. And I usually go and water the garden between 8 and 8:30. And about 8:50, I was a little behind schedule, so I was out there about 8:30ish, and it was, the sun had already gone past the trees, but it was still light out. And my dog normally does not come in the garden because she knows she's not supposed to be in the garden because she tramples on stuff. But man, that dog was smack against me like Velcro. She did not move because the people, I guess, that were going to be lighting the fireworks started to light fireworks. They started to do the little bangy things, and she was just right next to me. In fact, she was so next to me that as I'm standing there watering, she's laying on my foot because she didn't want to get up. So anyway, but today's conversation is called Your Bare Ass. The unfortunate problem here is that Gladiator Guru and I went over this, but I can't remember exactly what she said specifically about this conversation. We focused mainly on Tuesday's show. And since she's not here, I actually am not 100% sure what the heck we're supposed to be talking about. Of course, it has to do with bearing it all. It has to do with being bold. So I'm going to wing it. I don't know if this is the way she's going to want it. And considering that if she doesn't make it onto the show, I'm not even sure I'm going to stay on for the full 60 minutes because I'm sure other people have other things to do, obviously, because there's really not too many people watching. So hopefully she will be here because she's always fun to banter with. But anyway, let me just take a sip of my coffee. All right. So your bare ass. So we're talking about the month of July is being bold. Okay. We've been prepping you to really step into where you are in your life, assessing things. Are you really where you wanted to be? What's happening in your life? And we wanted you to take action in June. So June was the focus of taking action. We set you up all the way to June to decide what it is that you truly wanted and what you're doing and not doing, making that obvious in your life. Now we are taking the take action from June and we're making you stand boldly and go out there, strut your stuff. Speaking of strutting, so let me explain to you my little boldness element in my little world. So you all know that I have moved. I moved back in October. We got the house in May. We spent the summer here and then officially relocated my children and my pets and all my stuff in October. In some elements, I feel like I've been here a lifetime. I feel like I should have lived here. Like this is where I was meant to be. In that short period of time, and actually not even October, since February, the beginning of February, I have met so many people from networking. A lot of them have become friends of mine. And it's just an amazing group of people so like-minded like me. And I get together with them frequently. I still see them out in the business world. I'm slowly building my practice up. I'm getting patients. I would like to see them come in more frequently because I guess I'm so good that they don't need to come in weekly. So I have a lot of my patients that are like, oh my God, I feel great. I'll call you when I need you. Wonderful. I'm happy. But I need you to come in a little more frequently or at least refer people. How's that? You don't have to come in frequently. So I'm slowly building my business and creating our homestead here, along with my sister. So the homestead down here, they take very seriously. So, they are looking at, people are communicating and connecting to create their own homesteads, but they also get a lot of help. So what I'm starting to learn as I go is, there are cheaper places to get things. You don't have to go here, and these are better quality than this place. And it's very interesting. But so about 2 weeks ago, well, it'll be 2 weeks on Sunday, we started to really add to our livestock. We had wanted to get chickens. We went back and forth. Do we want chicks? Do we want full-grown chickens? And we almost got full-grown chickens, but then we weren't happy with the chicken coop that the person was going to give us because it just wasn't enough room for all those chickens that they had, and we didn't have a pen put together. So we opted for chicks because we have time. We have time to get the chicken pen up and all that stuff. So we went to our local flea market, which is absolutely fabulous. We love our flea market. You can get anything at the flea market, I promise you. Only in Tennessee, maybe in Texas too. You could get livestock, you could get candles, you can get food, you could get produce, plants, anything. Ammo, guns, knives, tires, tools. Every week there's something different. But this particular week we went in with one thing in mind. We were getting chicks and we're getting another goat. Well, I'm telling you, divine intervention, because you never know. Like sometimes you go there and they're offering goats, but they're not babies. They're not dwarfs or pygmies, which is what we wanted. Or they're offering this or that, right? So we went, and this particular one, good morning, Tiffany Bryan. Good morning. We went, and there was everything, like everything and more. So we got there, and the first thing we saw were some chickens, some grown ones. We didn't want the grown ones, but blew my mind that there were peacocks there. So a pair, a mama, a cock and a hen, and full grown. I've always wanted peacocks ever since I used to work at a zoo, and they used to walk around the property, and I always wanted peacocks. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. And the guy said, but the only problem is that they need to be penned until they get used to where you live. So you have to pen them for a bit. We didn't have a pen. So he had babies. And I know I've told you some of this already. So like, you already know that I got all these things. So we got the babies. We got 2 babies. I am proud to say that it looks like each one is a cock and one is a hen. We could have got 2 boys. We could have got 2 girls. But looks like we got a girl and a boy. I don't know if they can mate with each other because they're from the same group. So I'll have to find that out. And if that's the case, then I'll have to try to find the guy that had them and see if I could have them have him meet the female or something to that effect. But anyway, the male is strutting his stuff already, and it's hilarious. They're not very big. He's been popping up his barely fit, because they're half feathered, half down right now. Barely his little feathers on his tail, popping it up, and then strutting his stuff to her. And it's funny because if you've ever been around peacocks, good morning, Editha. Editha, see if you could keep trying to Gladiator Guru. I've called her and I texted her, and I'm wondering if she's still sleeping. I forgot it was Thursday, but I hope everything's okay, because normally somebody wakes up in the household and wakes her up. So if you could just try calling her too, that would be great. But like I said, I hope everything's okay. Anyway, so when peacocks are trying to find their women, they pull up their feathers and they do their little thing, but they also do this little shake. They shake. It's like they flutter. And he was fluttering to her. And it was so funny. Like, it was so funny to watch because they're still babies. And I'm thinking to myself, if you could be that young and strut and be bold and not care. And as I'm watching the birds, right? So we've got chicks. We've got 8 chicks, 2 peafowl chicks, and 5 ducks. Ducks, by the way, are very messy and smelly. So unless you are ready for ducks and have a place for them, I recommend you don't get them until you're ready for them. But the way they all interact with each other, there's like, especially the chicks, there's like fights in the chicken, in the little cage. They're like puffing up at each other and they're pecking at each other, and they're not hurting each other. There's no bloodshed or anything like that, but they're exerting their power. They're showing that they're the ones in charge. Now, I'm not saying to go peck at somebody. What I'm saying though is that I'm watching this at such a young age. Good morning, Wanda. And they're little, they're only like 3 weeks old, something like that, 4 weeks old. And they still, they're bold, and you can see the ones that are going to be the top of the line, the pecking order. And then you see the ones that are just real docile. And you even see them with us when we go in and reach in the cage to get them, to move them from cage to cage. some of them will start pecking at us, and then others will just let us grab them and just sit there and quietly, and they don't bother us, But it's interesting to just watch the dynamics, the goats. Okay. Alfonso, our older goat, he's like, I think, 9 months now. And he's as big as he's going to get. He's not very tall. But the goat that we got was only like 3 weeks old, the new one. And she's so tiny compared to him. Like, she's like not even half his size. She's so tiny. Yet she goes in his cage and she takes over. And it's hilarious because he tried to mess with her a little bit, but she wasn't going to have it. I mean, she's this little feisty thing, and she's sweet as could be. Like, she's not mean or anything to us, but she put him right in his place. And I thought to myself, this is fantastic. Like, this is great that this little thing is just stepping up like that. So as I'm observing, right? So my whole long story came into play because being bold is taking charge of your life. It's doing the things that bring you joy, that make you happy, bringing into your life the things that you want, and doing it boldly, like not half-assed, not a little bit at a time, but going in. So I have all these, what's the expression? The pan on the fire. I have like all these things going on. I'm building my business. I'm creating a homestead, and I'm also, raising my 10-year-old, who's soon to be 11-year-old, who's also going to be homeschooled. And bringing all this livestock in when we really don't even have the pens yet. Not that they can go into them, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like, we have to bring them in at night because you can see there's a cage behind me because they have to be in a heat lamp. So we have one cage for the chickens, one cage for the peacocks, and one cage for the ducks. Why do we have to split them like that? They were all together because they weren't getting along. Now, the ducks are huge compared to the chicks. Like, they got enormous overnight. I can't believe how big they got. And the pea chicks keep getting beat up by some of the chickens, which are much smaller. It's just so funny. So every single night we bring them in. They're in their different cages. Every single morning, I got to take them all out, clean the cages. Delilah, you're on. I didn't see that you're on. So good morning, Delilah. I got to take them all out and then clean the cages. And then what do I do with them? Because I would put them in a temporary spot for now and then clean the cages, put them back in. So what I started to do was I thought about it. I'm like, they're not big enough to go into a pen because they'll just run out. So I got to put them in a bigger cage. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found some extra large dog cages and then I rigged them so that the little baby chicks won't get out because the other two were big enough. And there they are. There's 3 big gigantic cages right outside the door here. And every morning now I move them out there, take their other cage out, clean it. Those guys just kind of peck at the ground. And it's great. So let's see. Oh, Margie let's see. Okay. She just woke up. So good. So you're not going to listen to my boring stories about the animals. But again, my point is, it's a lot of work, right? I won't deny that. There are moments in the morning when I get up and I'm like, I don't want to get up, and most of what I'm doing is by myself. Like, I'm doing like the goat in the morning. I have to take her out. I got to clean her cage up. But I'm not complaining. This is the deal. See, I knew going into this that this wouldn't be easy. I knew going into this would be a lot of work. I'm not looking at this like some people who will invest, let's say, in a dog because the kids wanted it and they swore they would take care of it. And then within 3 weeks, the kids aren't taking care of it and the parents are pissed off. And then before you know it, the dog is in the shelter. It's reality. It's understanding self. It's saying, I want this homestead. I want this to happen. I have the time to put in, my sister, she works, like she's got to log in. She's got to do stuff. She's working online full time. I have so much flexibility. So I can work on my business. I can work on the homestead. I can prep, start prepping for Charlotte's school. I can, clean up the house. I can do yard work. I can take care of the garden because we have the big garden in the back. I don't mind the work. Do I get tired? Yeah. Do I, like I said, not feel like get up in the morning sometimes? Yes. Do I feel like I mean, my morning starts early and it ends close to about 10 p.m. because that's when I, 9 o'clock, I bring everybody in. I water the garden at 8:30. By the time I finish, it's like 9:30 at night, and I clean myself off, and then the goat's inside for the evening. So my day's long, not continuously doing all those things, because once they're in the cages, they're good to go. But the point is that I knew this going in, and I'm not complaining. It's tough. It is. But I'm doing it boldly. And here's the interesting thing is, because I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm doing what I love, I'm meeting people that I need to meet. So I get out and I start chatting and I say, oh, this is what I have. My neighbor helps me immensely. He's fantastic. I have friends that do homesteading and I get advice from them. Then I meet somebody that go, oh, did you ever try this place? Did you ever try this place? Yesterday, Charlotte and I went out and we tried the Washington County Farmers Co-op. We went there. We went to another agriculture place. The agriculture place was wonderful. The people were fantastic. Everybody knows everybody. And I'm loving that because that's what I want to create as a community. So your bare ass is about showing yourself, showing who you are. Maria del Pilar, good morning. Thank you for being here. Gladiator Guru will be here shortly. I guess she didn't wake up, or she must have forgot. I almost forgot it was Thursday. So I had to remind myself, but when I went to bed last night, I was like, oh my God, you got to get up in the morning for the show. But good morning, Milagros. ¿Cómo está? It's about, and like I said, Gladiator Guru will be here. So for those of you that don't like listening just to me, don't jump off, because Gladiator Guru will be here shortly. But your bare ass, it's about, like, what does that mean? It's that vulnerability point that we were talking about. It's not giving a crap what other people think when it comes to your dreams and your vision. It's about saying, okay, I already did this. I already know what I want. I started to take action in June. And how well did I do? We need to assess that. How well did you do? Did you accomplish things? Are you on the way to accomplish things? Because I mean, you can't accomplish everything in 1 month, but are you on your way? Did you push yourself? How fast? How slow? Do you feel it was faster than you anticipated? Do you feel it could have been faster than what really was? So this is the bold month. Now we're going to ask you to kick it up a notch, to be vulnerable, to push yourself beyond what you think is possible, because that's usually what we run into, is we go by what we believe is possible for us. We can't think beyond. How many times have you wanted to do something? You said, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Or I want to go on this trip, but I don't know how I'm going to make that money. You said it, and the minute you put that out there, I don't know how, that stopped the movement forward or slowed it down. The interesting thing is, according to the law of attraction, that when we are really wanting something and we put it out there and we say, this is what I want, this is why I want it, I will figure out how. It will be presented to me. I will figure out how to get that. And it happens. And I'm actually living that literally right now. Like, everything that I have been doing, not saying we didn't make bad choices, while we were here, we didn't overspend money on things because we tried this and it didn't work. And it's true, but it's short. It doesn't happen. Like, it happens and then we learn. I spent money on this and then, I do this. But for like most of 2021 and 2022, I made one bad choice after another, I couldn't seem to get my shit together. But here it's like quick. Let me ask about this. Before I even dive into that, let me ask if somebody knows about this. And I ask my friends, I text them, hey, do you know anybody who does this? Do you know where I could get this? What's this like? Blah, blah, blah. And things have been moving in my direction. And here's the best part. The people that I'm meeting, I'm connecting. And then they're thrilled that they're meeting people, which is what it's all about. And it's not, because it's not just about me. The law of attraction it's an abundance. There's so much out there. There's plenty out there that's for everybody. And so we are able to make this happen, but we have to believe. So what is your bold, like, what is it out of all the things that you're working on that you need to be bold with? What is it that you need to just streak through your yard and show your bare ass to people? And it's twofold, the bare ass thing. Bare ass is exposing yourself, showing people that you're not afraid, that you can do this. But what's the other thing that people do when they moon people, when they pull down their pants and they show their ass to somebody? It's also kind of like, there you go. Like I'm sticking it to you. And we're not sticking it to them in a bad way. We're basically saying, these are my visions. These are my dreams. If you cannot understand them, I'm okay with that. Just don't put your stuff on me. And so, bloop, I'm showing my ass to you. I'm bearing my ass to you to tell you that I really don't care. Your life is not my life. My life is not your life. So when we sit there and we just let other people dictate, you're not being bold. You're second guessing yourself because you're thinking in terms of, what are other people going to think? What's going to, like, what's going to happen? Like, if I do that, how is that going to be, received? Well, if you're coming from a good place and you're a kind-hearted person, what's there to be received? My goal in life is to be kind and respectful and loving and compassionate, empathetic, to live a mindful life. Am I always like that? No. Am I like that with everybody? No. There's baggage. I have issues with certain people. But what I've learned is that I just stay away from those situations and those people because I am not being the best version of myself. And if I need to be in those situations and around those people, I have to be very present and aware and respectful to myself and even to the situation and the other people. It will never mesh 100%. I still could come across as short and ill-tempered. My goal is not to be that way, but I'm still learning how to navigate being around situations that are a little bit complicated for me, or being around people that are a little bit complicated for me. So, but I'm working on that piece of me. And part of that is pulling myself away and really asking myself, was I kind today? Was I compassionate today? Was I empathetic today? What did I bring joy to people? And I don't need to bring joy to people. I just like to. Did I show the best version of myself? And when I need to be tough, then I'm tough and I'm short. I say things the way I feel that they should be. I said something to a couple that we were going to buy a chicken coop from, and I was like blatantly honest. I was blatantly honest. And I told them that it was like an eyesore. Like the chicken coop that they had made was an eyesore. And I regretted it afterwards. I don't regret much. Good morning, Melissa. We haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for being here. I don't regret much. It wasn't a regret. It was just like, I felt bad. So I don't regret it because you can't take it back. Nothing to do about it. You can just either leave it or make it, try to rectify the situation if it's possible. So after I got home, I thought about it and I sent the guy a message and I said, I want to apologize for my statement. It really was, it was disrespectful to you. And I really do. I apologize. It was something that didn't need to be said in that manner. And I'm sorry I did that. And, and he sent a message back and he's like, don't worry about it. It's okay. Now it still could have been bothersome to them. I'm sure as soon as they got back into the house, they were talking crap about me. And did it make it better? Did I do that to make myself feel better? Yeah, a little bit, of course, but I did it because I had to remind myself that there are ways to say things, speak your truth, but you don't always have to be so horrible about it, defensive or matter-of-factly. You don't have to lie to people. The best way would have been like, I just don't think this is going to work for us. That's all I had to say. I didn't have to say that it's an eyesore. I just had to say, this is not really what we're looking for. There you go. That's kind. That's not making them feel bad. So again, it's not about, I'm not worried about what other people think of me or whatever, but it's about me being clear on who I want to be and how I want to represent. And if I do find somebody that, offends me or does something that I don't like, I am going to speak up. And I do speak up. And I don't apologize for how I act. I don't look back at it and say, oh, I take that back. That wasn't right. Only if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. But sometimes you can't always be kind. But the bottom line is you're being who you are, you're living your truth, and you're being bold. You are showing the world who you really are. And you're not apologizing for it. We all make, blunders. We also do a damn good job at being ourselves. And so if you're walking in there second guessing yourself and saying, oh, I'm stuck up for myself, and then take that back and say, I shouldn't have said that, and you think about it all day, you still have more work to do on yourself. Why do you feel that way? If you said what you said, then why did you say what you said? When I said that to that guy, I only felt bad because, like I said, I could have did it in another way. And I don't care what these people think about me. They're never going to see me again. But it was more of just, I know for me. That's why I had to say what I said to him. That's why I sent the text message. And then I let it go. I didn't worry about it. Even if he didn't respond to me, even if he said, well, that was really rude of you, I own it. You're right. It was. I take it. Because that's the person I want to be. And I want to be that person boldly. I want to meet people and connect with people, create what I'm creating down here. I want to be busy as hell, making a lot of money, doing what I love doing. And it's about taking that step and saying, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this happen. It's not going to be easy sometimes. It is going to be tiring, but I'm ready to do it. And if I'm doing, this is the one thing that I have to always make sure on myself. If I'm doing this, because this is what I want, and I'm complaining about it, then I need to shut the hell up. Because like I said, life is not, things are not always easy. They are hard. They're not complicated. Like this is not complicated what's going on, with all my crazy life over here. It's just hard. It's a lot of work. So I own it. I know that. And I boldly go and do that. And I will bear my ass if necessary, to show that I'm not afraid, but also to say to the other people, no, there you go. I got this. For those of you that said she's crazy, or, I had a family member say, why Tennessee, and I used to be that person. I used to be that, like, why would anyone want to live there? If you've never lived there, if you've never been there, a person really doesn't have the right to tell you. And especially if a person's never lived really anywhere else but one place. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in a few states. When somebody says, oh, Florida, like I'm moving to Florida, and I say to myself, oh, Florida, I've lived there. I can say it. Florida's not for me though. And I'm not going to disrespect them by saying, oh, how could you live there? It's their choice. And maybe they get there for a year and they say, oh yeah, you're right. I don't like it. But they learned, not every place is for everybody. Not everybody's life is for everybody. Your life is for you. Create it and do it boldly. Go in there unapologetically, like we always say. And if you screw it up, redirect. Because there's always people waiting there for you to screw. Oh, well, they're going to mess this up. They're going to blah, blah, blah. There are always going to be people that will do that. But here's the cool part. The more you don't care and the more you keep moving forward and redirecting, you will get it right. And then it will just start to happen. And then people will shut the hell up. Because what are they going to say? Like, what are they going to say? So don't worry about all that stuff. What actions did you take in June? And what are those actions? What are those things that you want to do and accomplish in your life? Can you do so boldly for this month? All right, let me see who came on that I missed. Let's see what Yeditza wrote. Yeditza says, decided I will not care about what everyone thinks. What should I be doing and not doing? And I am happier. It's extra stress that I do not need. Right. Here's the thing. Don't care in the sense of people that have no vision have no right to talk about your vision. They have no right to have an opinion. Okay. But here's what I do. When somebody says something to me, or if I hear somebody said something to me, I sit with it. I hear it. I don't dismiss it right away unless I know wholeheartedly that I don't care. Like if somebody says, oh God, she's so stupid for getting all those animals, that's a lot of work and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care what they say. It's not you. I love this stuff. It's not you. So I don't care. But if they say something that kind of hits home a little bit, or if there's something that it's a vulnerable point for me, or I feel a little something about, that's when I say to myself, you know what? Let me think about this for a minute. And maybe there's something that I do need to consider, or good morning. Maybe there's something that I do need to consider, and then say, all right, and if it bothered me, especially, that means I still do need to work on myself more, because otherwise I would have that attitude to say, whatever. But sometimes people do have information that can be helpful, because sometimes you're thinking you're going well, and then people on the outside, we're talking about the people, not the people, the naysayers, the people that want to knock you down. It's the people that want to see you succeed. They're the ones that will have the best information to say, this is what I'm observing. You know what? Then, and take it in, digest it, and then decide what you want to do with it. That's why, like, saying it across the board, sometimes you have to be bold like that in the beginning, when you have lived a life of people just taking advantage of you and people pleasing. But
you have to be bold enough to identify and to know the difference of who has your best interest. Because in my experience, I found that people are easily swayed by the ones that don't have their best interest and get angry with the ones that do.
Yes.
So that's still living in your fear and going along with the masses, because the people who have your best interest are challenging you to change, or challenging you to really look at who you are, acknowledge what needs to be done, and accept the defeat, to say, okay, this is going to hurt, this is going to be painful, whatever the case may be, but I have to do it.
Yeah, because
bold is being courageous, and in being courageous, it is walking in your truth.
Yes. Because how many times have we said we were going to do something, we start doing it, we get distracted, and then somebody that cares about us, not somebody that's going, oh, you said you're going to, this is somebody that says, well, how's that going? Well, I did this. Well, I didn't you say that you were going to do this by this time? What happened? Like, what's going on with that? And you get defensive because they're pointing out your truth. They're pointing out what's happening. And you're not, if you get angry because you're repeating stuff that you promised, that you said to yourself you weren't going to do, and somebody who cares points it out, and you get angry, that's when you have to look at it and say, I'm getting angry because I have to admit that I didn't do it. I have to take ownership of that.
You're calling me out on my shit.
You're calling me out of my shit, and the fear, and it is fear because you're holding back. And listen, I'm going to tell you something. When you have somebody so phenomenal in your life, you could have one, you could have multiple people. When they call you out on your stuff and you get past the anger and you get past being embarrassed, because there's so many emotions that come up with that. When you get past that and you're ready to admit and say, you know what, it's true. That's absolutely true. Tell those people that said it. So you know what, you're right. I got pissed because you're right. Mm-hmm. And the good thing is those people don't sit there and go, I told you so, blah, blah, blah. They just sit there. Well, I'm glad you figured it out, because they're there to support you, or good. Now just do it. Or they get tough.
I told you. Well, I think my internet is slow, right? Because I feel like I'm cutting you off or something. And then you pause.
Good. Go ahead, talk. No, I think you're okay.
Have I been freezing?
Maybe a little bit.
When those people do that, like me, for instance, I'm very passionate when I believe in something, when I'm talking about something, and it comes off even to people who've known me. I guess depending what it is I'm talking about, I get very passionate where I seem combative, and I seem like I'm yelling, and that I'm angry. And maybe I am a little bit of all that, because maybe the person I'm talking to, this is like the 125,000th time that they've come up to me for something. And and I keep presenting myself because I want them to be better. But I think when it comes to that, I never say, I told you so. What I say is, let's celebrate. Then they kind of, people, in my experience, people don't like that either. Like, yay, you got it, you've reached the top, or whatever the case, because I'm a sarcastic fuck. And then it's like all over again, and they get upset because it's like they took forever, and I don't know who I'm speaking to, but you know who you are. They took forever to become bold enough to come out of that shell, right? That cocoon. And then they're doing it with attitude because they know they have to do it, but they don't want to do it because they love the comfort, whatever. I know many of these people. And then they finally, at their pace, which is not my pace, and that's what I had to back up from, they make it. And then, you're like, hey, let's celebrate, let's do that. Then they get so angry with you that they feel they should have never changed. But it's because their comfort zone is still warm for them. What is it? That safety net that we have. And anybody who owns my book, and the opening quote that I wrote is, I was not born with what? I can't even think. I'm sorry.
Sword in my hand.
I was not born with
You were
something
born
in
with
my
a sword.
heart. I was born
Oh,
with the
with a
sword in
sword
my
in your
hand. I have always been brave. And people think that I'm not scared. People think that my tolerance for pain is at the highest level, that I can do whatever, pain through it and walk through it and talk to it. No, what it is you learn that nothing's going to come easy for you. And everything we desire, everything we deserve, every anointing, every abundance in this lifetime has been provided. We just gotta work towards it. And sometimes we've derailed so much in it, being cowards of our own destiny, self sabotaging, whatever you want to call it, that the bravery has left. So then we grew dependent on people, and then we blame them for not reaching where we believe we were supposed to be. But it's just all of that. It's the blame game, not the brave game. So when you do that, you can blame people, places, and things all you want. The bottom line is your life. What are you going to do to be where you want to be in the one life that you have? Because you feel it, you smell it, you hear it being whispered to you. This life that is yours, your purposeful life, has always been calling for you, has always been knocking, and you haven't reached it, or you are not on the path towards it, because you have chosen not to do so, because of the environment you have chosen to stay in, because of the people you have chosen to surround yourself with, because of the fear and anxiety you wear like an armor, so that you have many excuses not to succeed. Failure is just success turned inside out, no matter how you dress it. But it's how we approach it. And that's what being brave is all about. How are you going to approach the life that you want without excuses as to people, places, and things holding you back? Ain't nothing holding you back but you, but your
Yeah.
will, but your desire, but even, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you walk the path alone. What I'm saying, you say, badass, I am on this path. I can't tell you where it's taking me because I yet do not know. But I do need assistance. Can you help me? I don't have a pair of shoes, and I know I'm going to be walking for weeks or months. Do you have an extra pair of sneakers? See, that's how you involve people who are going to not be taking of their stuff for their journey, but people who can assist you on yours. assist you on yours is the operative word, on your journey, not on where you're at. And I'm thinking, I'm trying, I want to, but that type of energy is what you have to maintain. You have to keep it whirling around you. When you feel your energy going down, ask, where the hell am I that I'm not vibrating? That the frequency is so low, it's affecting me. It's all on you. It's all on me. I was in so much pain last night, and I apologize for being late. But I was in so much pain. I almost fell in the shower. I had to take a pain pill. Went to bed almost 2 in the morning. Totally forgot to set my alarm. That's on me. Nobody in this house has to say, "Oh, why isn't Margie up? It's Viva." Thank God my daughter-in-law comes in the room and goes, "Margie, it's 8:20. Viva!" She was my. I was like, "What?" I text, no glasses on. I text Lori, and I ran, washed my face, still got my pajama bottoms on. While I'm doing that, setting up, plugging up my computer, I'm brewing my coffee. I'm trying to do everything in one. It's not an excuse. I am so sorry. I
I
apologize.
figured you
I can't go
forgot.
back.
I figured you forgot it was Thursday because I was telling everybody when I first came on that last night I'm getting, it's not quite
You thought
bedtime,
it
but
was
I'm like,
Friday?
and I didn't know what day it was, but all I said to myself is, okay, so tomorrow is 4th of July, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go and weed the garden in the morning because it's a little easier to pull the weeds out and there won't be so much sun. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I went, oh, wait a minute, tomorrow's Thursday. I think I thought it was Friday. I think I did. I thought it was any other day but Thursday. I think I thought it was either Wednesday or Friday or Saturday.
Well, my daughter-in-law's leaving to the beach with Savannah, and she's like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "I thought it was Saturday. Like, I'm supposed to be at work today." Mind you, she just went back to work. So she's like, and I woke up thinking it's Saturday, especially since I knew I was going to the beach. I said, "It is not your problem nor
She has
responsibility."
work today. She had to work today.
No,
Oh,
but she thought it was Saturday as well because she worked yesterday. She just went back, so it's like everything's like haywire. And I told her, and this is why I'm saying it. When she said that, I looked at her. I said, "It is not your responsibility to hold me accountable to my shit." I said, "But I appreciate you, that she did wake me up what she did. And I keep my phone on vibrate. Don't ask me why. It's not like I don't know. But so I know you called and Beatty called. So
yeah, I told her to. Iditsa came on. I said, Iditsa, call her because I can't call people while I'm on.
But it's like, again, being brave is holding yourself accountable. And the badass Buddha injects that in everything about accountability. And you're going to be vulnerable. Have a pity party when things seem overwhelming or hard. That's not cowardly. Let me drink my coffee. But have those moments, but only a 24-hour pity party. That's all that's allowed. Anything longer, the person's going to move in. That spirit, that feeling, that it's going to get
24 hours or less. 24 hours or
pity
less.
party. But because people are known to drag it out, 24 hours seems good. Good morning, Maria de Pilar. Let me tell you, my kids to this day, the other day, my daughter moved into her own little space and she's calling and I said, 24 hours, oh, that's all you got. I don't want to hear about it, because she gets nervous. This is her real first apartment in her life by herself. And so, of course, right? But, and I said, Tiff, what do we do? She's like, 24 hours. Because since they were little, that's what I taught them. I don't want you dragging on your shit. Then you're going to drag me into your shit. And then what's going to, and then as a mom, we feel guilty. We got to participate and all that stuff. And I was like, no, boundaries. Since they were little, and they'll still say it and they'll still accuse me of shit. But that's okay. That's the blessings of having kids. You're going to always be important to them, whether they're criticizing you, complaining about you, or loving you.
Amen.
But having that pity party is not anything but being brave. That's you acknowledging you need a break. That you're acknowledging what you've seen, how tired you are, how painful change is. Because you know what? If it wasn't happening, you wouldn't feel the pain. So the change would not be on its way.
because the cure for the pain
is in the pain.
Look at what Kathy wrote. Kathy said, I've discovered some words must be adjusted for some people to understand the points of conversation being spoken. I often adjust what I say by just a few words, and then the understanding is there. She's talking about a conversation that I had before. But you know why you know that, Kathy? Because you know yourself. You know you. And you know to adjust to a certain level. And if they guess what happens? If you adjust and they still don't understand, then whose fault is it now? It's not your fault. It's theirs. Because I've done that. And Gladys Guru talks about this all the time. She talks about how she says stuff all the time and people take it wrong because they don't understand where she's coming from. We do that. Sometimes it's some subconscious that we do it and the old stuff comes out. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And then we say it, and then it takes understanding of ourselves and being bold enough to say, oh, well, let me say this in a different way so that I get my point across. And then if it's still not getting across, that's when it's the other person's problem. That's when it's the other person. And that's when I've learned to boldly say, well, you know what? Then I'm not going to explain this anymore. Like there's somebody that one of the recent visitors that we have, this individual I clash with tremendously. This individual is a very interesting character. I'll just leave it at that. And I have to admit, like this person will say something and then I'll poke it a little bit because I purposely try, because what they're saying isn't true. And so I will say something to sort of nudge them to let them know that I don't agree with that. And that's because it's not true. And I have found that, or I'll say something and to correct the person, because, I used to be the person where I had to tell, like, if I knew the answer and I was right, I had to let people know. I sit back now and just let people just unfold and see where it goes. I will interject when I feel like, okay, this has just gone too far and this needs to be like rectified because this is just not right. This is incorrect. Mm-hmm. And I will interject with the correct information. And I'm not a know-it-all. It's just if I know that information, I will interject. I've interjected. This individual argues their point. I sat back, interjected again, and this person either came back at me, oh yeah, okay, you win the argument, and I'm like, I wasn't looking to win the argument. I was just having a conversation with you, but so I've learned that there's only so much you can say. People don't hear you anyway. So when I speak my truth and I say something, I have no problem at the point of walking away because I've made my point. They don't hear it. I'm not wasting my energy anymore. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel the need to argue about it. I've had this happen to me on a couple of conversations on the phone recently where I had to stop the person trying to drag me into the drama that used to was in my life.
I like that. What is it that used to was?
That's a country twang. The information that the drama that used to be in my life that I walked away from, and this person is purposely trying to. I know they're doing it on purpose because they're in that drama, mm-hmm. and they want to live in that drama. And I had to actually stop and say, and I got loud. I'm like, I'm done with this conversation. So we either switch the conversation, or I'm getting off the phone, and the conversation switched. But then it tried to go back. So.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I've talked a lot today. So
no, what I'm saying is what you said earlier. People only get upset with you when you're talking. See, I don't need to convince you of what is right and wrong. I speak on what I perceive as right and wrong, what I know to be right and wrong. I come from my end. If I'm sharing knowledge with you, if I'm explaining how I became the gladiator guru, it wasn't because I just pulled the name out the hat. Let me be nice in the graphic. It was because
since when?
As a gladiator,
start now.
I've been in the fucking arena the
See, there we go.
majority of my life up until a couple years ago. So survivor mode has always been me. So that gladiator, year after year, kept coming out of that arena. That's right, not being brought down by all those enemies they threw at me. And because along the way, I was open to learn, who am I? Why am I like this? What do I need to leave behind? The resentment, the act for revenge, because I'm an angry little elf when it comes to that. So that was a lot. So if I am going to speak on something, it's because it's my truth. You don't gotta agree with my truth. What you gotta do is respect where I'm coming from. You don't get to disrespect me because you don't agree with me. Being brave and being bold is meeting people where they are. Mind you, that's just a concept that I've introduced to myself since when? Since about a year and a half now. We've been talking about this, about
Yeah.
walking in your truth, like really talking about it heavy. Times are changing, mi
Strut.
gente. We only want to listen to the TikToks that make us laugh. We only want to see the movies that are meant for comedy purposes, no documentaries, no, I don't give care about the news, but we don't want to see the reality that's going on in the world because it's not affecting us. Well, it is affecting us. So you got to be up to par. So when I say I'm the gladiator guru, it's because in every situation I've been in, I've written the pros and cons. I've said I don't want to change this part of me just yet, and I didn't. And I've always been open and honest about that on Viva. I like the way this is because it kept me alive. It kept me sharp like a double-edged knife. So all my life I've collected feathers from my fedora, and I have a lot of fedoras. So the gladiator
A lot of
guru is
feathers.
something that no, I have a lot of fedoras. I have a lot of hats. So
No, I've
imagine
seen and a
feathers.
lot of and you've collected a lot of feathers, I'm sure,
Yes.
over the years.
So be
You
who
had a
you are
peacock feather.
without fearing. And that was the title for it is because the chapter is already almost written for her badass story is the feather in my fedora. Um so when you say something and people think they're doing you a solid by, oh, I'm gonna let you have that, or you can own that. Now when I say I'm gonna give you that and I'm gonna
That's so
walk away, that
condescending.
means we ain't laying hands. You came out disrespectful, but you're really not at my level, so I'm gonna give you that. But you get this one. And I walk away, and that's the new and improved Margie, because there's no more blah blah blah. But I'm gonna step away. So it's not that I wanna be right, it's that you don't have to feel that you're wrong. So you don't
Right.
have to be argumentative. You don't have to come at me. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, here she goes, or this, or I know you want to keep this one, but there ain't no but. I don't want shit. What I want is I'm stating my fact. I'm talking my truth. I am sharing my opinion on something that I value. It may not agree with you, but I don't give a shit because I don't got to live with you. We're having a conversation, and we're talking about a certain subject. This is my view. What's yours? Let's respect one another. When I
Yep.
talk to people about Yahweh, about my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, they look at me funny. Well, those are your
They won't
demons.
down here.
Those are your demons. You not wanting. How could we talk about Buddha? We could talk about anything other than Jesus, and people are okay with it. But then you mention Jesus. So what I've learned is I don't care because I'm not going to deny any little part of myself. And it's like I said on Tuesday, my hormone imbalance is in my hands. So I can't blame this excess weight, this little jiggle with it, and my hormone imbalance. I got to blame it on why haven't I come up with something? Why haven't I been front row and center with it? So it's always about when you become brave enough to sit with yourself and write your pros and cons list, what can immediately be changed or cut off, and what's going to take some work. then that's where your bravery kicks in. And that's where you can be dropping, you can be tripping over your own shit because you're cleaning it up. When you do spring cleaning, your house is more of a mess than it was before you decided to do spring cleaning. Everything's out, the closets, the garage, everything. There's like heaps of clothes on your bed that you got to go through, right?
Yep.
That's how we got to look at our growth, like spring cleaning. It's going to be a lot of shit and skeletons and forgotten, for a whole luggage or baggage of forgotten traumas or troubles or dislikes that you got to take out and open up and say, what the hell am I holding on to this for? Like those old period peonies, but you've been in menopause for 2 years. That sort of stuff.
I threw those out finally.
That's you being brave. But remember, you cannot come out of your cocoon and fly away like a beautiful butterfly unless you go through that horrible pain of that rebirth. Pain is inevitable. The suffering is optional. The choice is always yours.
Say that again. Say that again.
Pain is inevitable because when you are in pain, one is a reminder that you're alive. Oh, okay, I'm feeling pain because I'm alive. And two, it's your learning, your stepping stones to reach your goal. Okay, boom, you're stretching. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You can go through a lot of pain. You can be betrayed by your friends and family. See, I didn't say no lover because a man's here today, gone tomorrow. So, but how you choose to wrap that around you is up to you. You can suffer their choices. That's the operative word. Is their choices, not yours. Why are you suffering someone else's bullshit? Yeah, you felt wounded, betrayed, disrespected, but you know what? It's still not your shit. That's someone else's action. Feel betrayed, disappointed, and hurt and disrespected by you not showing up for yourself every day. How's that? How's that for a challenge? Don't say, I can't believe they didn't even come. They knew I had to be there. No. What did you do to get there?
Yeah.
Be upset with yourself for not showing up for yourself. Everyone else is just a bonus.
That's right.
And if your car's not working, you ask somebody to pick you up at 8:00, but your appointment is at 8:45, and they're not there by 8:15, move your ass. Call a cab.
I always have a plan B and C and D. Like because shit does happen. Like, and it does. Sometimes it's purposeful, like they're like, well, I'm not going to get up there. They told me to get there. And hey, I'm going to get there whenever I decide I want to get there. But but sometimes something happens. I did leave on time, but I hit traffic, like at that particular scenario. The bottom line is that you can't, I love that expression. And that we need to post that expression all the time. The pain is inevitable. The suffering is optional. You decide if you wake up in the morning with back pain and it bothers you. Like, so let's literally think about it in terms of pain. You decide how your whole day goes. Do you want to complain every moment to anybody who listen how much pain you're in? Or do you want to just go about your day, the whole entire day, and then you sit down and you go, oh God, my back is still bothering me, or my back really hurts. And the person says to you, oh, did it just start bothering you? No, it's been bothering me all day.
All day.
Really? You didn't say a word about it. Why? I know it's bothering me. Why do I need to let everybody around me know it's bothering me?
That's exactly how I am.
And if we all did that, if we all took responsibility and said, my life is like, okay, my life is not going the way I want it. It's shitty. I'm not going to sit there and complain and suffer and complain to every single person who will listen, because I'm the one who made those choices, or I allowed myself to be duped. Like I didn't choose to be cheated on by my husbands. All right. But my role was eyes wide shut. My role was believing the lie and knowing deep down in my gut, I felt it, that was happening, and I chose to ignore it. That's what I have to play with. That's what I have to live with. I mean, and so going there, it's more empowering. So I could sit there my whole life and blame them and blame them. That's who they were. That's who they are. But I know who I am. So I don't want to be that person anymore. And I'm not. And it's like, we're done with that. Played that role. When you get to that and be bold and accept it, say, yeah, man, I made some bad choices. I made some blunders, financial, this, that, done with it.
I'm broke again.
Boldly going into that to say, all right, I'm doing it the right way now. You know, like I've always been challenged with money. Money comes in, money goes out for me. And I sometimes get a lot of money in, I'll pay back debt and I'll get rid of it, the debt, and then it'll come back again. And I said to myself, because I told you guys this before, we're going to be selling, you know, a house, and I will have some money coming to me. And I already said to myself, I know me. I'm not going to handle the money because I know me. So I went and I sat with two guys that I met in my networking groups that are money guys and said, I don't want to screw this up. I'm done with that. I don't know how to do it. So I need help. And they were so kind and so sweet. And they said, when you're ready, soon as you get the, you know, one of them's preparing me for the sale. Like he's telling me what to do for the contracts and all that stuff. And the other one is soon as you get the money in your account, then we'll sit down and we'll figure this out together. I may have something for you, I may not, but I'll steer you in the right direction. I felt so good. I felt like I had a team helping me, because that's the one part of my life that I really suck still. But I know after this, I'm going to be phenomenal, because everything else in my life is becoming phenomenal. And that's the one last piece. So I had to be vulnerable and admit it and not do the same thing over and over again. No, this time I'm going to be better. With what? I'm still walking in there not knowing how to do it. So now it's time to listen up and hear what they have to say. And even if I don't agree with it, say, I'm just going to have to do it anyway, because these people know what they're talking about. And I feel that I have a connection with them. They haven't asked for my business. We just became friends through networking. I feel that their energy, that they're good people. And I've asked other people in the group who've worked with them, and they're like, oh yeah, they're fantastic. He's really good. This one's really good. And that's good. So I know these people, and they have they do care. That's the beauty of it, is clarity of self, knowing your truth, and boldly going, just like Star Trek, boldly go where no one has gone before. Good morning, Gail Crafts.
Well, they like that because they have a passion to do what they do, and that passion trickles into helping each individual they come across. And that's beautiful what you just said, because that's the question. If you can be anything, what would you wear? If you visualize yourself wearing a certain outfit that sets your spirit free throughout the day, that's the career you need to go towards. That's the job you need to create for yourself to live abundantly. And that's what these people who are financial advisors, who really, really have the heart to assist other people, so you're both winning. That's a beautiful thing, because you don't find that with anybody.
Yes.
Because the right way is always your way. So you know who you are. You know what you're capable of, whether it's saving money or spending money. It's still a capability. And it's still showing yourself that you are putting yourself first, because you're actually going out there to get help. Yesterday, Beatty Iris brought her cousin into the studio, and she's talking. She's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then she said something, and I said, yes, because I'm awesome. And she laughed. And I was like, yeah, but I'm serious. I'm awesome. I said, you know, and I think and I said, no, I said, I claim it. And I said, you know, people say when they ask me what I do, I say I dabble in a little bit of that. And they say, oh, you're a jack of all trades. I said, no, I'm a master of each one that my hands touch. Because I can be doing 5 different things, but I'm the master of each of those 5 different things.
At that moment in time, sure. Yep.
And when I do something, I do it. Right now I'm working on 3 things simultaneously. But when I don't mean all at the same time.
Yes.
What I mean is, in this week that I've worked, I've taking care of 3 different projects. And one of them, I'm already on my second painting, while the first painting that's on commission is drying. So I am a master of everything I choose to dedicate my time and attention to, especially when there's a reward for it. There's an exchange, my services, my artistry, my essence for your money, your money, your money. So you see, so do what you love, because what you love will come back like a boomerang. And that is through being bold and taking that leap of faith and being brave and believing in yourself. Not everybody likes my art, but I don't give a shit, because half the time I don't like my art. But the
But
art that I
that's
say I don't like.
inevitable. But listen, that's inevitable because you look at the most famous people. Like I don't like Monet. Monet's the one that looks always out of focus, right?
I love Monet.
See, and I don't. I don't like Monet. I don't like Picasso. But I like Da Vinci. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's everybody is. That's the beauty, is we're all so diverse. That's why it's so important for you to be true to yourself and
Yes.
not care what other people think, because you will always find people who believe in what you're doing. You'll always find people that resonate with you, and you resonate with them, and that's who you want to be around, because you'll feel more comfortable. You'll feel like you're part of a community, and you will get support from people. You know, the best support, when you're in your tribe, is you get support when you don't even ask for it, because they felt it from you. They looked at you and they saw what you were doing, and they really love what you were doing, and they want you to be the best version of yourself, because they're working on the best version of themselves. They're being bold. They want you to be bold, and they see before you sometimes even see what you need. Mm-hmm. And they'll come up to you and go, listen, I noticed this, this, and this. What can I help you with? What do you need? I'll tell you what, when people say that to me, because it happens now, I sit there and I look up and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Like, seriously, thank you, God, because you placed them here. For you to say, like, for this person to come up and say, what can I help you with? What is it that you need? I almost want to cry sometimes, because it's mind-blowing to me. And those people only have come into my life because I finally set myself free of that lack, scarcity mindset to say, well, this and that. Throw my hands up and trust in faith. And that's allowed me to be bold and go up to people and talk to people and start conversation. I still drive my kids insane with that, because I have conversations with everybody like I've known them for years. But you know what? Guess what? That works down here, especially. Especially down here. People love that. And they love that about me. And guess what I've done? And I never did this up north. Everybody I meet, practically, I give them my business card. Oh, I'm a chiropractor. I live over here. Oh, never did that up north. Never gave them my card. I always felt, well, now it's like, I don't even care. Good. If I leave and they throw it in the garbage, I don't care. I'll just buy some more. But it's leaving an impact, because I've decided I want to leave an impact. I want to be bold. And just because they may not need my service doesn't mean they can't refer somebody, or there's something else that we could reciprocate. That's the beauty of it, is just going in there with that abundant mindset. Just like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to bare my ass.
There you go.
And some people are going to say, I like it. Like my neighbor did. Oh my God, that was so embarrassing. I was walking away and he sent me a text. He goes, nice rear. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You should have said, thank you. I've had it all my life.
Yeah, right.
See, you gotta be quick.
I said something snarky like that, because we go back and forth like that. He's a trip. But
Good.
It was so unexpected. Like, it was so unexpected. Now, he says that. There's probably other guys thinking, oh, her ass is ugly. But to each his own. You know what I mean? So you just walk in your truth. You be bold.
That's it, mi gente, because you walking in your truth, you dressing into what you know you are, you flowing with the energies you have been gifted with. You would never be hungry. You would never be broke. And by being broke is that lack of self-esteem, that lack of trust, that lack of self-respect. So fuck self-love, because if you don't have those three, how are you going to reach the ladder of love? So just do it. And others build it and they'll come. You build what you see. People lose a lot, I think, when they like, well, what's your audience? What's your target audience? Listen, I'm just gonna be me, and then I'm gonna attract who comes to me. I'm not gonna waste my time. And I'm building my webpage right now. And it's like, who's your target audience? And I'm like, whoever the fuck wants to hear what I gotta
Yeah,
say.
I hear that a lot.
Whoever the fuck wants to buy what I'm making with love. And because I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, no, I'm not in competition with anybody, not even with myself from yesterday. I've come to that decision. The woman I was yesterday, I have no reason to compete with her. She did the best she could in the 24 hours she had.
Yes.
On to the next.
That's
And here we are today. And although it started a little rocky, my bad, mala mia, I'm sorry. I'm here. And what matters in your life is that you show up on your time, not on the time that someone placed upon you, but on your time. I don't purposely show up late for people or do whatever. It's just, what if the hands of time stop clicking? Are you going to be devastated? Are you not going to know how to put your panties on? So it's like, learn who you are. If there's a lesson in life that you cannot miss so that you can get your master's degree, your PhD, whatever the fuck the highest piece of paper they give out for all of your money, do it in knowing who you are. So in any room you walk into, there's nothing but you and your bright shining aura and that courage of being brave enough to put yourself in a situation where it's just you, and now you have opportunity to meet everybody else, and just do it. Listen, everybody knows my granddaughter's an artist. I love her. I can't draw to save my life, but
she's unbelievable.
she's unbelievable. So I gave her what I wanted. I even showed her some samples on Pinterest. Well, I like these leaves, and then I showed her 3 different pictures, and out of the pictures she still created the bottom that was nothing of what I showed her. And I said, and can you make her face a little more feminine, because the shop has the mural, and it's about empowering women. It's about me walking in all like, oh my God, and seeing that mural saying, all right, all right, all right, I'm getting it together. So let me show you what Anaya came up with for my logo. Hold on. Oh my God, it made it worse. What the hell?
I just hold it still. That's funny. That's a lot like my logo, except it's more detailed. That's funny.
Your logo, I don't remember. Look at maybe the white.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, my logo is a lady who's a tree of life with her arms going up like that as part of the upper part of the tree, and then her roots. But that's classier. That's very pretty.
She's feminine. She has her curves, which I don't think they're curvy enough. This is just a black and white.
No, that's beautiful. It's very it's beautiful. It's very classy.
The leaves,
mine's very plain. Like it's just like here.
And the leaves, I told her I want the tree, but I want more branches than leaves, because the leaves fall off first. The branches will fall off with pressure, but her roots are made of gold.
Oh yeah, yours is like mine, but 10.0.
Well, I told her I wanted the roots made out of gold. I didn't tell her about the body. She chose that color for the body. But I told her I want the branches because they sway with the wind. They dance. That when they're being the leaves, they come and go. They know how to say goodbye, and they know how to make a grand entrance every spring. So that's why they're behind her, the leaves. Like, okay, I'm leaving, but I'll be back. You see?
Yes.
So it's a whole story there, but she created that with the colors in the background yesterday. Now, let me tell you, because the studio is called Casa de Encantos, the House of Enchantments, because there's so many things that are going to be done there, that are being made there. And that's just the studio. That's not a business name. That we'll put that on some of the products, because it's separate from my Cricket's Whisper. Because again, when you know who you are, this is temporary. This Cricket's Whisper has been my business since 2011. And my coffee isn't my coffee until I bring everything out of Florida.
See, that's mine.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I forgot, but it is beautiful.
Yeah, that's just
I remember that with the green. Yes.
It's very empowering, but yours is spectacular. She's so good. It's beautiful. Like mine is just very plain. It's a very plain logo, but yours is so, like, you could feel it. You can feel the beauty of her.
Yeah, well, because we talked, and she's like, "Okay, so what are you looking for?" So I'm like, "Well, this is what I want. I want the branches to be mystical. I want them to be free flowing. I don't want nothing that's just like all one solid thing. I want it to be everywhere. I want her to be feminine, but I definitely want the bottom. But I gave her different ones. There was a bottom that looked like a mandala that I liked, but she, an artist chose her. The end game is hers. I said, but I do want the root part to be gold. Gold. She comes from such a powerful, what is it that I said? I don't mineral, whatever grows from the earth. And this is what she came up with. And then she sent me the green. And then, so I think that when you sit with someone, now this girl left Florida, went to North Carolina. She created this in North Carolina. She goes, when I arrive in North Carolina, give me a couple hours to settle in, and then I won't have my business and my work. And she did it. And then she won't let me pay her. She sent it right back. She's like, I love creating things for my magical grandmother. I am not. And I said, but this is business, Anaya. And she's like, not with you, Ella.
Oh.
So, I mean, yes, the alchemist always give her and spins it into gold. I have to figure out what I wrote about it, but Gail, you're hitting it on the nose. So you know what? When you're in doubt with yourself, that's what you show. Like, I know I could have paid anybody for my logo, but I know that Anaya is very spiritually inclined. So if I speak to her about something, she's going to feel what I'm saying, not visualize. She's going to feel it. And then she'll do this. And then I'm like, I think I want a little bit more of that. And so it's okay. We can work with that, because not the first try. It's not always going to be that great, but she's okay with that until we get it right. Don't stop the first time you try to do something and the key don't fit. That means there's other keys on your keychain. Fiddle with it. Adjust it. So when you know who you are, you know what you want, be brave in acknowledging, even if it's just to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. And do it. And if it fails in everyone else's eyes, to you, that's a feather in your fedora, because you tried it. I tried it. I really wanted to do it. But once I was in it, it just didn't feel right. That is what a guru does. You try it. You see if the puzzle pieces fit. If it doesn't, on to the next.
On to the next.
It's just like they say, never take traveling advice from people who never traveled. Like when
never take any advice from people who've never done the things that you're looking to do.
And so, like, people are like, oh, but why will you do this? Aren't you afraid? You shouldn't go again. Why are you going to the same place again? Because you ain't doing shit.
Right, exactly. Why does it bother you? Like, why does it? You don't travel anywhere, and then you're telling me I'm going to this. Yet people go to Disney World once, twice every single year and spend money, and it's not my cup of tea, but that's theirs. So let them do it. It's just like people saying to me, oh, why are you getting all these animals? Because then it's just going to make you get stuck where you are. No, it's not. Because now I just find somebody that can house sit and take care of all the animals, which I did. And so if there's a will, there's a way. The next time somebody tells you something and they're trying to basically say that what you're choosing to do is restrictive to you, or it's not exactly the easiest thing, you have to sit and ask yourself, do I really care? I mean, you know what? Owning your own business there's pluses and minuses. The freedom that you have with owning your own business is fantastic. I'm going to say that right now. but it's up and down. And there's not a steady paycheck. You have to pay for your own health insurance. There's a lot there. But I look at the pros and the cons and I go, every single time I land on it and say, I like the freedom. I like the freedom. And if I want to be busy and I want to make a lot of money, that's up to me. Period. So if I'm not making a lot of money and I don't have a lot of business, that's because I did not do what I needed to do. And that's the reality I had to face for the last couple of years, and finally admit to myself, yep, I'm not doing it. And I like saying I have my own business and I don't push as I need to. And I'm done with that story. So that's it.
But you know what? How brave is that? And not to tell people, because fuck that. It really doesn't matter who knows your business, and you don't need to explain yourself. But the bravery comes where sitting with yourself and having such an in-depth conversation about how we failed ourselves. Not what anybody else has done, but how we failed by being afraid to take those chances on ourselves, to take that leap of faith to say, I don't have a safety net, so I don't even know if my jump is gonna make it to the other side, but fuck it, let's try. And that's what it is. Because you know what? Money is currency. Currency is energy. So what you put out in a positive way, in self-trust and self-belief, even though it might seem like you lost that money, it's always going to boomerang back. But you got to be open to what you possess in your achievements, in your mind, in your heart, in that spirit that wants to try something different. Everything always does this. So trust yourself enough to do what you love, to try something, even though you're like, I don't know why I keep doing this. When I started making soap, 3 days I smelled soap. I didn't know how to make a bar soap. So I'm like, Eric, you smell that? He's like, what? I said, soap. He goes, no. The second day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm smelling like it's soap, but it smells so clean. He's like, you're crazy. Mind you, I'm probably bathing him, or I don't know. But I'm sitting in the living room and I get up and he's like, what's wrong? He's in his man cave. And I said, you don't smell the soap? He's like, no. And I said, maybe I should make it. And I'm like, I don't even have money to buy extra rolls of toilet paper. This is when he had the ALS. And the third day, I am folding clothes and I smell it. And I said, oh, I'm not going to make it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how to do this. I looked it up. Let me tell you, there were $700 days in me selling my soaps and my spray misters and my lip balms. And I would go to the dollar store, make little baskets. I had several $700 days of sales. And so I always had groceries. Eric and I lived off his $1,220 a month Social Security check for the whole time he had ALS, because Florida don't help you. And so follow those instincts. That's why you should awaken your senses the minute you wake up. I can see, I can smell, I can speak, I can feel, I can touch. Awaken them with you, because the messages also come like that. And don't be afraid to try it. If I would have been afraid to try it, what would have happened? We would have been broke, and then I would have probably been a different person because of the hardships we would have went through. Yeah. I don't make soaps anymore because that served its purpose in that time in my life. If I choose to make soaps, fine. I choose not to. That was a purpose that was served in that time in my life.
Yep.
Okay. So never be afraid to discover who you are at any age. Learn yourself, because we're not the same people we were last week. And trust yourself and honor yourself. And by honoring yourself, you're not hating on nobody. You're not insecure about yourself that you're throwing daggers with your evilness to other people. You're not insecure. You're not jealous. You're not feeling less than anybody.
That's right.
Because if you trust yourself, you love yourself enough to know that you don't need to be in competition with nobody. Not even yourself from yesterday, because that woman brought you to today. Just do better. That's your responsibility. Wake the fuck up, live to the best of your capacity, learn who you are so you can be better at what you do. That's being brave. It's showing up for yourself every day with your big girl panties on, Gail. Because if you don't do it, no one's going to do it for you. And all your life, you're going to be wasting your energy and being jealous and being insecure and never accomplishing anything. And at the end of the day, that is your choice. So choose wisely.
Choose wisely. All right. And that's perfect. We definitely made up for lost time with regards to Gladiator Gurus. So this is wonderful. So thanks so much, everybody, for coming on. So next week, we're going to be talking about firm, perky, and tight, oh my, and runway strut slut. So stay tuned, man. This ought to be interesting.
Yes.
Happy 4th of July to everybody. Enjoy your Independence Day and decide what it means to you. So thanks, everybody, for coming on. Have an absolutely fabulous weekend. Is that it, Gladiator? Can we do our sign off?
Yes.
All right. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.